at this point, I'm not in favor of privatization. I've talked to city workers. I did not know this. There was a department that dealt with demolition, and the city did away with it. And when they privatized demolishing homes, they sold off all of the equipment they would use to demolish the homes. And the contractors came in at a certain price. When all the equipment was sold, gradually the prices went up to demolish these homes. And when Detroit tried to, argue or bring down or negotiate, they had no leverage because they had no equipment to demolish the homes. And that's a challenge for me, to get rid of jobs that city workers could have and give to a private contractor. We might save some money on the front end, but on the back end, are we going to really win? We have city workers, I believe, they can't do the job that needs to be done. And if we continue to employ city workers, they will live in the city of Detroit, they will pay property taxes, they will stay in their homes and keep our neighborhoods up. I just believe make sure we maintain and keep our own workers first. If we need to go out, if it's absolutely necessary that we go out, then we'll explore that option. My first priority is keeping our jobs, our workers in the city of Detroit with the city of Detroit workers. Obviously, our contracts come through the city council table. And we all can be honest and know that some companies come with persons who we may think run the company, but don't actually run the company itself. Again, I think this is where we as city council can use ourselves or our staff before we approve these contracts, if at all possible, to ask these companies, can you give us a list of unions or individuals you're going to be using on the jobs we may award the contract to? Are these people Detroit residents? Where do they live? Can we look them up on our tax roll, see if they're actual persons who live in the city of Detroit, to make sure that we see that you're going to do what you're supposed to do, live to your end of the bargain by having city workers a part of the contract. So I think we have to do our due diligence, not just look at a contract on a sheet of paper, not have it come across the table, bring it to the table, but if we have to go out to their site, go out to where they have their company, their headquarters, and have them submit documents that will prove they're going to use some city workers, and then follow up with those companies and those contract workers to see if they actually use the city workers to make sure that we both are doing what we're supposed to do according to the executive order by the previous administration. I'll give a few. The first one is as soon as you open up almost the front page of the charter, the qualifications for a Detroit City Council, a person or elected official, particularly Detroit City Council. Right now, if you are a resident in the city of Detroit, a registered voter, we need to add some constraints of living in the city for a certain amount of time. I'm very leery of putting an educational clause in their requirement there, so as not to discriminate those who may have chosen to go take an educational, higher education. But we need to add some more meat to those qualifications, so we don't have just anyone running for office. I applaud all 167 persons who ran, to me showing they want to do something for the city of Detroit. But we need some people who are of quality, have a background and the acumen to serve there. Another is the way that we elect the city council president. I do think we ought to change that, not by popular vote, but let it be voted upon among the peers who are on Detroit City Council, and to make sure that they come together and know who they want to be their leader. And then third, one of the other reasons I would change or look at charter provision is council by districts. The big word that comes with that is accountability. And I do think there is some accountability right now with our city council. You can watch them on television, you can go down to the meeting itself, you can get the agenda from the city clerk, you can get the archived videos from the city clerk or the city city council research analysis division. So many people say let's have it for accountability. I say let's have it because there are some people I've talked to on the campaign trail who are somewhat intimidated to come down to the 13th floor of the Coleman Young Municipal Building. Take ourselves and our staff out to the people. Have a satellite office in the community and let them know that you can touch your city council person as often as you need to touch your city council person. And when it comes to accountability, not just accountability for the city council person, but now the city council person can have some accountability towards the citizens themselves. You can put names with faces in your area with residents and businesses. What businesses keep their fronts up and are good stakeholders in our community? What residents keep their properties going? What block clubs are viable? Do they come to the city council meeting in that particular area? So there's an accountability on two fronts by having council by districts. If we do have a council by district, however, we need to adjust some of the power that's there with city council and the mayor, this very heavy mayor form of government. How can I get the lights on in my neighborhood? How can we get trash picked up? How can we get greater police presence? As of this point, I cannot go and mandate or make a department head provide those things because they fall under the mayor's control. But change some of that power as we move forward. So those are three things, at least three things that I would like to see done or changed or at least visited when the charter commissions take their positions after January 1. We need businesses. Businesses bring jobs, they bring revenue, they bring a sense of growth in our community. I'll answer your question, but I'm going to start large and come smaller. I would be in favor of having some larger establishments, meaning a major supermarket chain, as a anchor in a particular area. Having an anchor store there, I believe, will create smaller stores of good quality to come in our city. I do applaud every single small business here, but Detroiters deserve to have the basic necessities in their communities, beyond a barbershop, beyond a beauty shop, beyond those kinds of establishments. And we need them because they provide jobs and revenue for our city and for our residents. But I would be in favor of streamlining that process to make the process easier for a small business to find a building, come down to Detroit, city council building, city hall, get all the necessary signatures you need, and make that process easy. Maybe in one spot or two spots instead of going from this building, this floor to that floor, this office, that office, finding signatures. Make it easier. And then if we need to have something through workforce development to provide quality people to have those jobs, if we can provide grants through federal stimulus monies to come down to Detroit to start small businesses. Small businesses need to be in our communities, on our major thoroughfares, to keep traffic moving, to keep people working, for people to know that there's activity going on in our community. So I am in favor of making sure that we have small businesses here, to start them, to help them get going, and have some people who can work in these businesses. If we can afford to provide some tax breaks for these businesses to begin very early on, we can see what we can do to have them to entice them to come and attract them to come and start their businesses, and then later on we hope that it will be a viable business to keep on going to move our city forward. At this point, I am in favor of highly considering the mayor taking over schools, and I'll say that because I am a graduate of the Detroit Public School High School. From the time I graduated until now, we're looking at 5 or 6 superintendents. Now I know the average year of a superintendent across the country is about 3 years, but we have to look at at least explore a different model. I'm a parent of a DPS child at a school that, according to DPS, is a school for gifted and talented, which I would think we would pour resources in to allow that school to do what it needs to do. As a parent, since my child has been there, I have no problem volunteering. That's what I'm supposed to do. But copying materials, the heat is off at a certain time, and the children have to wear their coats and jackets to stay warm. A flooded classroom last year for half of the school year. Lights are not on. Parents able to, or anyone able just to walk into a school. Those are the kind of things that the mayor not be able to put his hands on directly, and I don't expect the mayor to control the school. I expect the mayor to appoint someone to run those schools. I believe that Detroit is tied to DPS, and DPS is tied to Detroit. If we want young families to come to our city, they need a place to have their children educated. Why have them come to a city to live here, and they have to put their children in a private school in the city of Detroit when they're paying property taxes that go toward our school system? How can we have a viable city and not have a viable school system? So they go hand in hand. So I would be in favor of exploring that option, highly exploring that option of having the mayor take over the schools and appointing someone to lead those schools, not the mayor running it himself or herself, but having the mayor appoint someone to take over the school system to run it, because they go hand in hand. We need both to be profitable, viable, and quality.